Welcome back to another tutorial, and in this video I'm going to be showing you how I remade Supernatural by Trippie Redd. If you want the drums and the presets, you can get them from the updated Trip a Night serumbank and Drumkit, or you could head over to my Patreon and get the drums, presets and the FLP. So starting off, I opened up Serum and I remade the SUPERSAW which you hear throughout the song, and this is the pattern I came up with. Comes to the leveling and the effects on the SUPERSAW, I just routed it to mixer track number 10, and then I added an EQ, and then I took out some lows. Then we move on to the lead, and this is what the pattern sounds like. And when you get 24 seconds into the song, the same lead is actually pitched down 12 semitones, and this is what it then sounds like. I didn't put any effects on the lead, I just let it sit at around 12 to 9 dB. Then we move over to the pluck which you hear throughout the song. At first I opened up Omnisphere and then I tried to remake the sound in there, and this is what it sounds like. But as you can hear, it doesn't sound remotely close, so I tried to remake it in Serum, and this is what I came up with. Which sounds better, but still it's not quite there yet. And then one of my subscribers actually told me about the preset. It was discovered in Purity. So what you want to do to find this preset is that you want to go over to the presets section, then you want to click on fast synth, and then click on this 011 cat flight preset right here. And as you can see, I've moved the notes slightly forward. That's just because of the attack of the original preset is kind of slow, and with all the effects it makes it sound off time if I have the notes on time. So therefore I just moved them a little bit forward to make up for that. And if you head over to my Patreon, you could click here and go on more tags, and you could go over to Supernatural. And here I've posted the drums and the presets, and this also includes the Serum preset that I made and the Omnisphere preset, and of course the Purity one. Next sound is a pluck/lead which you hear from the beginning of the song. And I didn't put any effects on this, I just let it sit at around 15 to 12 dB. And at 37 seconds into the song it's actually pitched up 1 octave, and this is what it sounds like then. And I also wanted you guys to know that I got a playlist of all my remakes down in the description. I've done a remake on MissTheRage, K-Suave's Sexually Active, Another Day / I'm Gone, Holy Smokes, Supercell, Rich MF, Vibes, Stoned, 4 Stars or Cloud9, which still hasn't been released yet. The same goes for Castro, or also known as Black Ops, and I just dropped my Demon Time remake yesterday. Then we move over to the drums, and all of the drums used in this remake can be found in my Trip a Night drum kit, or you could head over to my Patreon. This is the 808 pattern that plays in the song. If you want to add the same 808 rolls that's used in this song, you could go over here, click on the 1/4 step, and then just put your notes in like this. And the second type of roll, you could just leave it on cell. When it came to the effects and the leveling of the 808s, I added an instance of Decapitator, and I put on the Beefy preset, and I let the 808 sit at around positive 3 dB, because then the beat slightly clips and just makes it hit a lot harder. The next sound is the same clap that was used in MissTheRage, and this is the pattern that it plays. And I didn't put any effects on the clap, I just let it sit at around 3 dB. Then we move over to the highly complicated hi-hat pattern, and if you want this hi-hat pattern you can get it by getting the FLP. And again, no effects on the hi-hat, I just let it sit at around 6 to 3 dB. Then we move on to the structure, and here you can see that we have all of the different patterns starting to play, and then after 24 seconds the main lead is pitched down, and then after 37 seconds the pluck or the lead is pitched 12 semitones up. Something that I also noticed when I was remaking this is that in the beginning you could hear the full pluck pattern being played, but when the drums are introduced only the first half of the pluck pattern is playing, but then when you move over to the end of the first part only the high pitched or the last part of the pluck pattern is playing. Towards the end of the first part of the song, when the beat gets cut out and you only hear Tripp's voice, you can slightly hear the beat being played in the background, like this. To recreate this, I just selected this part right here, hit Ctrl-Alt-C, pressed start to render it, then I routed it to mixer track number 8, and then I turned down the volume. Then we move over to part 2 of the song where you hear the iconic 808. So first up I opened up Purity, I went to strings and I chose the mellow string preset, and I played this pattern right here. And the thing about this sound is it's very hard to hear in the original track because a lot of the low end is actually taken out of it, and it's widely stereo separated, so I opened up wider and I put it at around 89%. This is what it sounds like with no effects. And then with effects. Next up I recreated the main lead, and this is the pattern that plays. And the lead is sitting at around 12 dB. As for the effects and leveling of the main lead, I just added an instance of FabFilter Pro Q. I then took out some of the lows, and I also added an instance of wider and put it at around 65%. And then something that's also very difficult to hear in the song is that there's this saw/pluck pattern that plays as well. And as for the effects and leveling, I just put it at around 21 dB, and I cut out some of the lows and of the highs. Next up you have the distorted lead, and to recreate the distorted effect I had to make a new preset. To make it sound even more distorted, I copied the pattern and I pitched it down 1 octave, and I also lowered the velocity so you wouldn't hear it that much. As for the effects and leveling on the distorted lead, I just took out some lows and let it sit at around 12 dB. The next sound is the distorted saw pattern. When it came to the distorted supersaw, I let it sit at around 18 dB and I took out some lows and highs. And at around 37 seconds into the second part of the song, the main lead is changed. This is what the pattern sounds like. And the lead is sitting at around 12 dB. 48 seconds, a new lead is introduced, and this is what it sounds like. Now this pattern looks very similar to the main lead pattern, however there's some more gliding between the notes going on. And this lead is sitting at around negative 18 dB. Then we move over to the drums, and this is the 808 pattern that's being played. As for the effects and leveling on the 808, I again added an instance of the capitator, and of course chose the beefy preset, and the 808 is hitting at around 0 dB. And then we have the kick that's being played. It's actually the same kick that's used in Sexually Active by K Suave featuring Trippie Redd, and this is what the pattern sounds like. And I let the kick sit at around 0 dB as well. Later in the song you can hear that the 808 pattern changes, and this is when the glidey notes are introduced. And to recreate the glidey 808, I chose this part of the sample and then I hit set loop. I then exported it out. Then you have to make sure that you have use loop points turned on. I then edited the envelope so everything was turned down except the sus. Then I also clicked on the portamento and the mono, and I turned up the slide a little bit. And as you can see, the notes are slightly overlapping, which creates the glidey effect. Then we move over to the clap, and it's the exact same clap that was used in Holy Smokes. And as you can see, this isn't the standard rap or trap clap pattern, it's actually the drill clap pattern because it hits on the 3 and the 8. And as for the leveling on the clap, I let it hit at around 3 dB. Then we move over to the hi-hat, and it's the same hi-hat that was used in Supercell, and this is the pattern that I played. The hi-hats hit at around 12 dB. Then we move over to the structure. You can of course hear the iconic part in the beginning where only the 808 and the kick is playing. Then the melodies are introduced. At around 10 seconds into the second part of the song, you hear this effect. And to recreate this, I opened up 2 instances of grow speed. On one of the presets, I opened up the momentary preset and I chose this one right here. And the second instance of grow speed, I chose this preset right here. And I also added Fruity Blood Overdrive and automated it to make it sound more gritty. However, when I added it, it of course made the volume very high, so I had to automate the master volume to turn it down. Something that I never caught until I was remaking the song is that around 21 seconds into the second part, the distorted lead is actually taken out and the regular lead and chords are playing. Now again, if you want the drums and the presets, you could either get it from my Drumkit and serumbank, or you could head over to my Patreon and get the drums, presets and the FLP. And I actually post my remakes first on Patreon, so if you want to view my videos extra early, you could head over there. And since Love Letter to You 5 is dropping soon, hopefully before August, I'm going to be posting a lot of Love Letter to You inspired beats and guitar samples. And I'm also going to be making a video where I show 15 or more chord progressions that fit perfectly for the Love Letter to You type style. Make sure that you guys hit the subscribe button and the bell down below so you know when I post my remakes and other videos. But without further ado, here's the entire beat. Expert about to go crazy.